Welcome back to Faewood Mead. My name is Mandy, and in today's video we're going to be visiting a couple of meads that I have already made. The first of which is the first batch that I have ever made, and that is going to be a blueberry raspberry mead. This mead I started on December 10th of 2019. So what I did, where I found this recipe, is I just Googled basic mead, and the first thing that will come up is a recipe by Grow, Forage, Cook, Ferment. Their recipe is blueberries, raspberries, they say like a fruit medley, I'm pretty sure. Also an orange, 10 raisins. I'm not sure if that's exactly the amount that they put in the recipe or if that's just how many I put in. Spring water and 2 pounds of wildflower honey. Obviously, this recipe doesn't involve any kind of extra yeast nutrients, fermate O, fermate K, anything like that. Your yeast nutrient is going to be the raisins that are added to this and the fruit. So everything is added into primary, you ferment it, and that's it. You don't add anything else, and that's supposed to be the full recipe. So let me tell you about some steps that I've made here for this thing. Now, I used a Lalvin EC 118, which is a very strong champagne yeast. I used about half of a packet for this. A pint of blueberries, 12 ounces of raspberries, 1 full orange, 10 raisins. Exactly. Whole ones, by the way, not chopped. You're supposed to chop raisins. I just threw them in whole. Spring water, 2 pounds raw spring flower honey is actually what I used, not wildflower. And the honey that I used was by Apatera. They have really, really sweet honey. It is very good, and they are on Etsy, so I will link their shop down below. So I boiled the honey for about 20 minutes, poured onto my mashed fruit. Now, mind you, I did not freeze my fruit. I simply smushed it up in my hands, crushed and broke all those berries, and put them in here. I left it in primary for about 10 days, and then I moved over to secondary for about 2 months. For this, I did not take a hydrometer reading. You can see there's a lot of carbon dioxide still in here. So as you can see, this side is empty of water and this side is full. That means that there's a lot of pressure in here. It does not mean that this is an active mead. 12:10 started, 12:17 I racked. February 3rd, I took a gravity reading. It was just below 0.99, so it ate whatever sugar was in there. Again, I didn't take an initial gravity reading, so I really have no idea what my alcohol level is. 223, sour but good. I back sweetened with about 1 pound of honey, heated, not boiled, so I just kind of warmed it up. Gravity went up to 1.010, much better. And then it kicked back into a fermentation because that yeast was not finished yet. I didn't have enough honey in here to feed. The yeast that I used can go up to 18%. 323. It was just under 1.00, so it was like 0.996, somewhere in that. 329, it had sunk a little bit lower. That was about a month ago. My hydrometer broke. So that is why this mead has been sitting for as long as it has. And now we are going to bottle it. Just using this to hold a mesh bag. And I'm gonna do this very precarious, sketchy thing right here. Since I added the honey last, since I back sweetened, which really just re-kicked up fermentation. Now I'm sure it's probably quite dry again. Really what I should be doing right now is taking a gravity reading. All of these things have been sanitized, of course. I use 1 step. This is pretty clear. Is it floating? Holy moly, that's dry. Okay. It's floating. Okay, so it really hasn't moved much since last time. It didn't get down to 0.99, which is like the absolute, I don't want to say it's the absolute driest because it does get lower than that. I am going to put this in my little sanitizer. Put this in my sanitizer. Now, I would like to know what this tastes like right now. Oh, it smells pretty nice. It does have like a sort of a tart smell to it. It's not bad. It definitely needs to sit longer. So it isn't as if this mead has just been sitting for 4 months. It's not fully aged because when I re-added honey, it went into a full second fermentation. I think I'm definitely pulling more raspberry than blueberry, but it's nice. It has this light kind of crispness to it. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm happy with that, I really am. Got my auto siphon here. As an FYI, the only way for this siphon to really work is if this bottle is up higher than this bucket. All right, look at that nastiness at the bottom. And now what I've got left is a nice clear product. And it's bottling time, exciting. Before we bottle though, I do want to give this a nice stir because there's clearly a lot of CO2 left in there, there's a lot of gas. If you leave gas in your mead, it can cause some off flavors and off smells. So I'm just gonna gently stir this. It doesn't really smell that great. It almost smells like medicine. So first things first, for bottling, I need a little bottling wand here. Oh my Lord, voila. Now the bottling wand is super awesome because when you push on this, that's what releases the liquid from within here. So take the bottle, you just push down on the bottom and then it will fill, and when you release it back up, it'll stop.
Wow.
Isn't that pretty? It smells like doof poop.
Oh yeah, there's doof poop over here.
Look at all these beauties. This is difficult to do by yourself, kind of, but it's doable. And there's a little bit left in this here bucket. So I guess I'm gonna have to drink the rest of that. Wow, wow, wee wow! Look at all that.
Oh, brother. Oh, brother. That's a lot.
I'm gonna get wasted. Oh no.
That's all right.
It's way too, I mean, it would only fill up like...
It's your weekend. Might as well get wasted.
Yeah, go
Taste the fruits of your labor.
That's true.
Good?
For any of you who may have experienced this mystery of clumpiness, please let me know in the comments because I have no idea what that is. There were no solids in here. I mixed in honey and this happened. It's just very strange. This is my banana mead, and this is the second mead that I've made. This mead has given me trouble from the start. Let me tell you what I did. So on January 20th is when I started this one. I essentially just looked at forums. So Homebrew Talk, Mead, forums, whatever. That's where I went to just look and see what people were doing with bananas. Thought banana mead, oh my God, I love bananas, that sounds great. I started off with 8 small bananas, which I know was not enough banana. 8 small bananas, again, I didn't freeze them, nothing. Half a cup of orange juice, fresh orange juice. 2 pounds of clover honey, which I believe I was under that. I don't have a scale. If you look online how much honey makes a pound, Google says 10.4 ounces. So that's about what I used. That's the calculation that I used to make 2 pounds. Spring water, the other half of the EC 1118 packet. Whew, holy moly. And I went from there. So I boiled 4 cut bananas with the skin for about 40 minutes. Added the honey after the boil to just melt it. Tossed boiled bananas and replaced with fresh bananas, about 4. And I put them in a little mesh bag and put them in. First day gravity was 1.058. On the 3rd of February is when I tested it again. So I racked it, it was very dry. I say very dry, but it was at 1.00, so it was done. So I added one more banana, and I added honey and yeast to kickstart it again. Now, somewhere along the lines I saw something about, you know, if you feel like you have a stuck fermentation, to add yeast. So I added like a 1/4 packet of yeast. I did not need to do that. I know now, but at that time I didn't. 2 cups water, about a 1/2 pound of honey, 1/4 pack yeast. I calculated it to be about 7% before the honey was added. 225. Now this is where I ran into some issues. I did not pin down that mesh bag, and I left it in there for about 22 days. And I had a tiny spot of mold on top, and I freaked out. What I did, I didn't pull out the mesh. I didn't want to disturb that spot on the top. So I put the siphon in, just in between the mesh, and racked through that so that nothing would be disturbed on top. Because other than that, it was fine. This meat is not spoiled. Nothing really happened to it. I caught the mold just in time. But just as a warning for you all, that is something that can happen, so be very careful. And adding marbles is really smart. If something's floating, you can't get it to sink, it just hangs out at the bottom. Racked, added honey, about 2 pounds, on banana water with nutmeg, cinnamon and vanilla. I also added black tea to this to add some tannin and some depth. There was a lot that happened to this mead in a very short time span. Basically, when I tasted it, it was super bland. It sucked. It just tasted like alcohol, like alcoholic water, and that was it. And that is why I added all of those spices and the extra honey and everything else. When I added the honey, it came out to be 1.046. And of course it restarted fermentation. So you see all this gunk up on the top? That is where fermentation had restarted, and it just kind of foams up and makes a film. All right, 329. My hydrometer broke. So I couldn't take a reading, what do you know? But the mead was very sweet, has a nice honey cinnamon flavor. So I'm hoping to still have that. I want to get it off this weirdness at the bottom. This mead should no longer be active. You can see some bubbling happening in here. It's gas. There's a lot of gas trapped in here, which is why I want to take it off of this. That is what we're going to do today. The moment of truth. How did the vanilla bean do? Ooh, that smells good. Oh my God, I'm so happy. So it started as a normal sort of banana mead. I've turned into a banana spice. God, there's a lot of chunk of donks in here. This still has sweetness in it. It might still be active. It's at 1.020. So it went down about 26 points. What does that mean? I could not tell you right now. Could still be quite active. Because honestly, it surprises me that it's still that sweet. So I'm gonna pour this back in, nice and careful. So there's still a lot of gas in here. Wow, that is very sweet. All right, we're getting it off the creepy lease. Okay. Ew! No! Oh my God, ew. Oh, it's weird. Holy shit. Okay, so that's my creepy. Y'all, I'm a mess. Obviously, this is much less than a gallon, which it can be risky leaving so much headspace. For now, I'm gonna just leave it. There's still a lot of gas in here. It may still be a bit active. So either way, there's enough CO2 to push the oxygen up and out. So I'm not too worried about it. Got my airlock filled up, ready to go. Wow, that was an adventure. Okay. Well, I will let you all know how this goes. That is so gross. It's disgusting. Still a lot of little floaty things in here. As you can see already, this is pushing down, so it's lower than this, which means that there's already pressure building up. Thank you so much for watching this video. These are my 2 first ever meads that I have made. I am so happy to have one bottled, and I have this huge glass right here. Your girl gonna get drunk. I will see you next time. Bye.